You ever stand on your own land, coffee in hand, and watch a bunch of bulldozers roll by, knowing deep down that you're the only person in the county who actually wants them there? Yeah, that was me. Tuesday morning, sunlight just peeking through the oaks, a grin stuck on my face so wide I could have swallowed my own mug. The HOA was finally breaking ground for their dream community, pouring foundations and snapping selfies for their newsletter on land they didn't even own. And not one of them had a clue. Name's Isaac Norwell, retired land surveyor, professional cynic when it comes to HOAs. You know the type. I was raised on handshake deals, fence lines you respect, a man's word as his bond, not a bunch of little tickets for having the wrong mailbox color. So when the Briarwood Haven HOA showed up trying to expand their vision onto my quiet 30 acres, I didn't get mad. Nope. I just got real patient. It all started about a year and a half back. I was minding my own business, literally, when Barbara Beaksley came marching up the drive. Picture a woman in her 60s, lemon-yellow blazer buttoned up like armor, hair sprayed solid enough to take a tumble off a tractor. She said, "This land would make a wonderful addition to our community, Mr. Norwell, and we're expanding. You want to be a part of that?" She looked at my field like she was already picturing a dog park and a sign with her name on it. I just sipped my coffee, leaned on the old fence, and let her words float off on the breeze. Didn't answer, not a word. Maybe she took that as a yes, because the next week, I started seeing survey crews stomping through my back acres, right through the hayfield, and my mailbox filled up with official HOA letters saying I needed to remove unauthorized structures from common property. They were talking about my barn, the same one my dad built in '64. They really believed they owned the land. That's when it got interesting. See, years ago, some hotshot developer tried to snatch up my back 30 for a golf course. The deal fell apart, but he filed a quitclaim deed anyway. Bogus on its face, but it ended up floating through public records, just enough to confuse anyone not paying attention. Most folks would miss it, but I'm not most folks. So when Briarwood Haven bought what they thought was 120 acres, that little paperwork snafu made it look like 30 of those belonged to them. They didn't. Not legally. I had every map, title, and court order to prove it. Chain of title, surveyor seals, the works. I could have shut them down right when they broke ground. Instead, I let them keep going. All 120 homes, roads, sidewalks, that tacky little clubhouse, even a dog park. You don't chase a snake halfway out a hole. You let it crawl all the way in, then you seal up both ends. Only thing I did was tack a little sign up on the oak tree at the edge of the property. Private property. Trespassers will be prosecuted. Legal notification. They ignored it. So there I was, watching Barbara Beaksley's SUV bounce over the curb. She hops out, spots me on the hill, and comes striding over, her heels sinking into the dirt, all fire and vinegar. "This is a construction zone," she snaps. "You're trespassing." I just hold up my folded map. "No, you are." She gives this sharp little laugh, you know the kind, like I just told her the world was flat. "This is Briarwood Haven Phase 4. She says, "We've sold 60 of these homes already. You can't be here." I handed her the map and a court order, said, "I can, and you're about to have a very long week." Her hand trembled when she saw the parcel numbers. "Where did you get this?" she whispered. "Had it for 15 years. Been waiting for someone to get greedy." She stormed off, phone already in hand, probably calling her lawyer. Didn't bother me. I'd already lined everything up. Lawyer, sheriff, county assessor, every duck in a row. And here's the best part. I had footage, photos, certified letters, every piece of evidence showing I'd given them every chance to check the boundary. They just didn't care. The HOA thought they could do whatever they wanted. Now, they'd built 120 homes on land that wasn't theirs. Next morning, Barbara sent her vice president, a stringy guy named Craig Denton, plus 2 lawyers. They set up camp in the construction trailer, didn't even look my way. I sat on my porch, binoculars in hand, jotting down names from badges and license plates. By lunchtime, the county clerk called me. "Isaac, they're filing a motion to quiet title, trying to claim you never contested, hoping for adverse possession." I laughed. They've only been here 2 years. I've got 30 years of tax records and drone footage. She promised to send a copy to Judge Halford, who'd overseen my last property dispute. "He'll remember you," She chuckled. Sure enough, by that evening, I had an official summons. The HOA thought they'd found a loophole, but adverse possession takes 15 years in our county, and only if you've paid the taxes. I'd paid every penny, every year. Their permits were tied to parcels that didn't even exist. They'd built on a ghost map. Thursday, I sat down with my attorney, Dana Whitlock. Used to be a land use prosecutor. Now she's a bulldog for hire. She flipped through their filings, all thick and fancy, and said, "They're stalling. Hundreds of pages, all smoke. If they sold homes on land they didn't own, that's fraud. If they took payments, that's wire fraud, maybe even racketeering." I grinned. Think Barbara's that smart? Dana raised an eyebrow. Maybe not her, but someone's pulling strings. So Friday, I went to the county archives. I dug up every deed, plat, and zoning permit since the HOA started Phase 4. And buried in the files, I found a notarized letter from an appraiser named Lewis Kendry, certifying all Phase 4 homes were inside HOA land. Problem was, Kendry had died 6 months before the letter was written. I sent Dana a photo. "This isn't just sloppy," I said. "This is forged." She said she'd call the state board and the DA. After that, things started unraveling, quietly at first. County paused inspections. Real estate agents yanked listings. Then I got a voicemail from a homeowner, Rachel Mayers. "We bought lot 74 last year. Mortgage company says there's a title dispute. No one told us. What's happening?" I didn't call her back, not directly. Instead, I put up notices for a town hall meeting. "Property rights and development transparency," I wrote. Neutral but pointed. That Tuesday night, the rec center was packed. People in hard hats, folks clutching files, faces pale with worry. I stepped up and said, "My name's Isaac Norwell. I own the land your homes are built on." The room gasped. I didn't sell, lease, or grant permission. The HOA built on land they never owned. Someone shouted, "That can't be. We bought through a title company." I held up my paperwork. They used a forged appraisal, a misfiled deed, and a fake plat map. Dana passed out copies, explained the legal mess. "You may be victims of fraud," she said. "Your titles are clouded. You can't refinance, can't sell, and the court might order you to vacate." The room erupted, shouting, fear, anger. I let it roll for a minute. "I'm not here to evict anybody," I told them, "but I'm not letting this stand. You deserve to know the truth." That night, over 40 people signed a petition for an emergency audit of the HOA's records. Dana filed it the next day. By week's end, the HOA treasurer and 2 board members had resigned. Barbara doubled down, held a secret meeting, tried to rally her supporters, and called me a land baron out for extortion. Her mistake. Someone recorded the meeting. She said, "He doesn't want the land. He just wants a payout. If he fights, we'll bury him in court. He's one old man with a fence and a grudge." That tape landed on the DA's desk. Suddenly, this wasn't just civil. It was criminal. The sheriff showed up at the HOA trailer Monday. Barbara didn't come out right away. When she did, cameras were rolling, neighbors stared, and she looked small for the first time. Dana whispered, "They'll offer a plea, but the civil cases, that's where we win." "You think?" I said. She nodded. "We just tell the truth. They built on the wrong land, lied about it, and now it's all on paper." I looked out over those houses, neat and soulless. "Funny thing," I said, "if they just asked, I probably would have sold it." She looked at me. "Why didn't you?" "Because they tried to steal it. Now they'll see how wrong they were." 3 days after Barbara's arrest, the county sent emergency inspectors to check every Phase 4 house. Turns out the builders never had valid permits. One forged survey, one bold signature, and everyone just waved it through. My phone blew up with calls. Homeowners, contractors, even a mortgage broker, panic everywhere. But I wasn't out for blood. I just wanted the truth. Dana and I met with Assistant DA Vell, sharp-eyed and no-nonsense. We got felony counts pending, forgery, falsifying records, wire fraud. But it's bigger than Barbara. He showed us wire transfers, $12 million from a Delaware shell company, Chesapeake Development Group, straight into the HOA's accounts. The signature approving the loan wasn't Barbara's. It was Nathaniel Bryce, compliance officer. But that job didn't exist. That man didn't exist. He was a phantom. We weren't dealing with just a crooked HOA, but a whole fraud ring, laundering money through fake developments. Vel asked for every scrap of evidence I had. If we can prove they knew they were trespassing, that's intent. That's conspiracy. I promised everything: maps, deeds, tax logs, drone videos. By week's end, the FBI was in town, pulling records, interviewing contractors, raiding the clubhouse for evidence. Nothing stays quiet in a small town. Then came the real fallout. Rachel showed up on my porch, tired, red-eyed. If it all falls apart, what happens to us? I told her honestly, some can stay. Some might have to renegotiate. If not, the land comes back to me and the houses are illegal. She nodded. What can we do? Tell the truth. Testify. The more voices, the better. The next day, a sign went up in her yard. We demand transparency, full audit now. By Friday, 60 homes had signs just like it. The grand jury handed down subpoenas for everyone: HOA board, contractors, appraisers, title agents. One agent cracked under pressure, said he'd been paid to push through clearances on parcels he knew were sketchy. Contractors confessed to falsifying logs. An engineer admitted backdating reports, and the FBI found an email chain linking Barbara, Nathaniel Bryce, and a vanished Delaware attorney. They'd coordinated everything: land grabs, fake papers, selling to whoever could pay fastest. By the time the DOJ held a press conference, the town was buzzing. Wire fraud, land misappropriation, racketeering. Barbara denied bail, the board pretending they didn't know. But their own emails sealed their fate. Meanwhile, Dana helped the homeowners file a class action suit. Not against me, but against the board and developers. They invited me to a meeting in a church basement. Rachel introduced me. For a second, the room was silent. Then a veteran in the back said, "You could have kicked us off. You didn't. That matters." I told them, I just wanted the right people to pay. He nodded. Looks like they finally are. The day of the verdict, the courtroom was cold and still. Judge Halford read the charges: conspiracy, fraud, building on private property, knowingly executing contracts on land they didn't own. The prosecution laid out maps, permits, emails, everything. Witnesses testified, even the former HOA secretary, Carla, describing how every red flag was brushed aside. Rachel took the stand, so did I. I tried to warn them. I told the court. They ignored me. I documented everything. I wanted them to hang themselves with their own arrogance. The judge nodded. The defense sputtered, but they had nothing. Judge Halford's verdict was clear. All defendants are guilty. This was no oversight, but deliberate deception. The HOA's authority was dissolved, assets put under court control, and my land was confirmed as mine, uncontested. But in light of the homeowner's good faith, he ordered a fair process to let them buy or lease their lots legally. I just nodded. Outside, reporters swarmed. One young journalist asked, "What would you say to someone being bullied by people who think they're untouchable?" I looked at her, then at the crowd behind. Folks who'd once called me crazy. Let them think they won, I said. Let them build their empire. Just make sure it's on your land. And when the time comes, remind them. Foundations built on lies don't last. Weeks went by. I met each family face to face. No lawyers, no threats, just contracts. Some bought, some leased, a few left, but most stayed. The land was always mine. But the community? That had to be earned. Eventually, the last HOA sign came down. The old clubhouse became a real neighborhood center run by volunteers, not bullies. They invited me to the ribbon cutting. I sent a hand-carved sign instead, built on truth. And that was that. No more fake officers. No more forged maps. No more power games hiding behind community standards. Just neighbors living together on land they finally understood wasn't just dirt, but something worth respecting. So, what do you think? Should a person forgive and forget when someone tries to steal their land, or stand their ground even if it means a fight? Ever had your own run-in with an HOA or a bully in a suit? Let's hear your story down below. And if you believe in standing up for what's right, hit like, share this tale, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Justice only happens when folks speak up.